Hello, my name's Barry Lain, and I'm going to show you one or two things that I get involved with. I do take them and do a bit of educational science with people when I get a chance, especially the young people, and I just follow my passion. Whatever I feel like doing, I get involved with. So I'll show you that in a little while. Right, well, what we've got here is the start of my demonstration, if I get a chance to do it, to anybody who's interested. Is a kind of a pseudo secret radio in a suitcase, which I haven't finished yet, but the way to actually demonstrate the whole thing in context was to talk about the Morse code that goes obviously with the Enigma. People do tend to think that the Enigma is a radio set and sends it directly, but that took a crew of people both ends to do the coding and send it by Morse, which that would pick up the other end and then decode the message. To that end, we've got one of these, which is one of these things people will recognise. You've got to try and get the loop without making the thing sound, which is slightly entertaining, but you've also got a Morse key. So I'm not a professional Morse sender, but that would give somebody, and children who don't know anything about this kind of thing should be pretty fascinated, I think. I've got some Fujet original bits and pieces to go with it. I'll be able to plug in this telephone, so when I play the tape recorder that will be hidden in this suitcase, I'll be able to pick that up and hopefully listen to some Morse coming through, and also through the earphones. So that's where I was going with that little demonstration. Right, well, this is my attempt at a demonstration model of an Enigma machine. Several years ago I developed an interest, visited Bletchley Park a couple of times, and I wanted to learn all about how this type of thing was all sorted out. So with a view of owning one. Well, that's impossible really. I mean, there's no way that I'd ever be able to get hold of one. So over several years I experimented and tried to make a machine that didn't even look like an Enigma machine to start with, but at least I would have been able to take it to engineering shows and tell people of how the whole coding process operated, until they got bored, actually, because you have to condense it quite a bit to keep it interesting. But a couple of years ago I'd got so far with it, it drove me mad. I'd actually made 3 sets of wheels, and you can probably catch some of the wiring involved in there, cross wiring on the rotors. Well, this is my version. They aren't exact copies of the originals because, to be honest, you'd have to be a camera manufacturer to do this. So at the end of the day I used components that I could get hold of easily, and I decided not to do all the engineering manually operated. So this is operated by solenoids and micro switches, and the rest of it was an old 20s German typewriter, so there's a little bit of authenticity to it, and I eventually made it look a bit like my idea of an Enigma machine that could have been used during the war. So this is represents a 3-rotor Enigma. You've got the 3 rotors in there, and on mine you can't take them out, because on the original ones they were interchangeable and you can move them about. The complications of that I left out, so you could say I've cheated, but nevertheless they do seem to operate to an extent. So to add to that, you've got a light board which reads out the letters that you're going to be coding, and the micro switches operate those. So, and there's also a plug board on the front, which is called a Stecker in German, and that was to mix it up even more. So you've got about 17,000, I believe it is, something like that, 17,000 combinations of the 3 wheels, But added to that, when you move into the plug board, which switches them over, the combinations that you can code your message into are vast. I'm not quite sure how far this goes. It doesn't go as far as the original, but nevertheless, after many attempts, I did get it to code. I wouldn't think the Germans would get very far with this in the field. The original ones must have been a masterpiece of engineering, so this is purely for demonstration purposes. Right, should be able to show this working, so I'll just turn on the master switch, and the wheels would have to be preset to from a code book, which both ends would have, and the code book would say what wheels they've got in and also the numbers that they're set to. So at the moment we've got them set to 13, 19 and 5, and the plug positions on the plug board are S to I, and there was a combination of 10 of these leads, up to 10. Well, we'll just put 3 in for now. That's A to G, and anybody who's seeing this will see I've used stereo plugs instead of the extremely expensive reproduction ones you can get hold of. And that one N to P. Right, okay, and then from that start position with the keyboard switched on, we should be able to write down what comes up on the keyboard. So if I press, now it's my wife's name, I'll just put in S for Susan, you'll see the first fast router will move one step, and we've got C coming up. So I'll just write down C. The next one, because it's changed now to 6, that's gone one step round. So the next letter is U, and we've got an A, and the next one is S again. Now that won't repeat, that shouldn't repeat the same, because that's the whole idea. And we've got an R come up. The next letter is U, if I can spell it right. No, it isn't. A, sorry. And the next one comes up as V, with the A, and then the last letter is N in Susan, and we get X. So we get CARVX with that setting. Now that would be transmitted by Morse code to the people at the other end, and they would set their machine to exactly the same position. So they would put 13, 19 and 5. So what I'll do, I'll just go through. Start positions 5. They've plugged their plug board up the same as mine, identical machine, and all being well, if they then press the keys in as the code comes in, that doesn't say anything like Susan. So you just put in, if I can find it, C, where's the C gone? There. You've got S come up, okay, S, and they would write down that. Next letter is a U, so I nearly pressed the U, but the next one is A, and U comes up. The next one in the sequence is R, so if I press R, you'll see that steps round each time. S comes up again, it's brought it back out of the code. The next one is V, and A comes up, and the next one is X, which is the N's come up, so the people at the other end would get Susan. So they'd know we were talking about Susan.